Is this thing on? Hello, hello? Uh-oh. Another yapper with a mic. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Napkin in Between podcast. I'm your host, Dejanay Jones. Bitch, my allergies are so bad right now. Spring is definitely on its way. I cannot breathe. I want to scratch my eyes out. I am constantly sneezing, like, oh my god. So if I sound like stuffy today, or if I look like, my left eye is absolutely swollen right now. So I'm just giving y'all a heads up. Girl, I'm confused because the weapons formed against me are prospering. Like, my allergies are so fucking crazy. So anyway, if I sound stuffy or, whatever, it's just allergies. So don't mind that. Even though the allergies are kicking my ass right now, though, I'm so excited because spring, I wouldn't say it's fully here, but she's definitely on her fucking way. And I'm so excited because I love when the sun is out. I love when the weather is nice. I'm wearing a dress right now. For the audio listeners, you can't see, but for the visual listeners, like, I have not worn a dress in months, and I love wearing dresses because pants are so constricting. I hate wearing pants. And I'm wearing a dress right now. Like, I'm so excited for spring and for the weather to be nicer because I'm trying to be outside. I am trying to be outside. So this has been the peak of my week. It's just the weather getting nicer because then I can be outside more. And the other day, me and my roommate, we went outside because the weather was so nice. So we were just like, let's just go dilly-dally, see what we can get into. And tell me why we were walking down the street and there was this lady sitting on this little stool. She had like this really mini table. And she had a sign on the table that said psychic readings. And we were like, oh my God, like, she looks legit. Because it was just like the way she was sitting, I was like, oh, she gets down. She don't play. So we were like, let's get psychic readings. So I had this woman read my palms to tell me about like my past and my future. And to be completely honest, I would say like 82% of what she said was pretty spot on. She was talking about how my last relationship, she said it wasn't very long, but it was very intense. And because of that relationship, she was like, have you like built up like a little bit of a defense wall? And I was like, hey, yes, queen. Like, I built this wall brick by brick. And she was like, yeah, that's not. And I said, oh, okay. So she was explaining to me like, oh, like your wall, you're like keeping people out. And I said, yeah, girl, like that's the point of a wall. Like, what else is it supposed to do? But she was like, you're keeping out people who like want to treat you well and do good by you. And I was like, I mean, yeah, you're right. But at the end of the day, I think I'm still going to take my chances with the wall and keep it up. But thanks for the information. But she was telling me like, I need to like be more open and let people in more. And, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely like, she was pretty spot on, like my last relationship, which I feel like one day I'll probably do a story time about because this shit is crazy. Like, straight out of a movie type shit crazy. So I'll probably like tell y'all about it one day, but let me heal a little bit more first. But anyway, it was super intense and super crazy. And yeah, I've definitely built up a wall ever since that relationship ended. But she was telling me like, you're keeping good people out. And I was like, okay, but like, I feel like I'm justifying the wall, and I totally understand that. Am I going to stop doing it? No. Is it completely healthy? Probably not. But again, I'm not going to stop doing it. So I feel like if someone truly wants to be in my life, you have to show it to me. And part of that is I'm going to do things to self-sabotage. That's just what it is. Like, I definitely self-sabotage. And, if you really care about me, then you'll work around the self-sabotage. I need to go talk to that lady, bruh. But I just feel like there's people that I've tested in the past, and I'm like, I'm going to do this thing to see how you react to it. And this thing was carefully crafted by yours truly to, I don't want to say get under your skin, but like to push you away. This thing was carefully crafted to push you away. And if you allow it to push you away, then you just weren't real in the first place. That's what I tell myself. Again, I understand that that's not healthy and I shouldn't do that, but it is what it is. The ones who are supposed to be here will fight through all of my self-sabotage and break the wall down. If you can't break the wall down, you weren't meant to be in my life anyway. I need to go talk to that lady so bad. Anyway, but that was definitely the peak of my week. I've never done a psychic reading before. It kind of low-key scares me. But I was like, let's just see what this lady has to say. But she was accurate about that. She also said that I, in the future, am going to own my own business, which I was like, thank God, because I've always felt that, like, I was supposed to be my own boss. Like, maybe it's because I'm a Sagittarius. Maybe it's just because I'm stubborn. But I hate having to, like, answer to somebody. You know what I mean? So I've always wanted to have my own thing and be my own boss and do whatever I want to do. Like, I feel like, I was just talking to some friends about this last week. If I want to go on a vacation, I should be able to go on a vacation. I'm grown as fuck. I have the money. Like, let me go on a vacation. But the fact that I have to go to someone else and be like, hey, I want to take this time off. Is that okay with you? That really grinds my gears. Like, I hate having to ask other people to do shit. I just want to do my own thing. Like, I'm grown as fuck. You know what I mean? So I've always wanted, you know, my own business so that if I want to travel, I can do that. If I want to take a couple of days off, like, do whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to be able to live my life fully without having to depend on or ask other people if I can live my life. So that was really cool. She said I'm going to own my own business. And she said New York is my forever home, which I loved hearing because I've always felt like that. I feel like I've moved around quite a bit just to try to find like where I feel like I fit in the best. And New York is definitely where, of all the places that I've ever lived, I feel like, okay, this is like where I'm supposed to be. So that was really cool to hear that New York is like my forever home. So overall, it was a pretty cool experience. My roommate also got her palms read, and I felt like her reading was way more accurate than mine. Like the things that she was saying, I was like, wait, like we were just talking about that. So it was pretty cool. It was a very interesting experience and just something that I've never done before. And I feel like I'm at the point where I want to like try new things or like push myself outside of my comfort zone. And so it was really cool to be able to do that. So that was definitely the peak of my week. The fact that the weather is getting nicer and getting a palm reading. As always, please tell me the peak of your week, something that made you smile, kept you grounded, something that you found joy in the chaos of the world. Interestingly enough, after my roommate and I got our palms read, we were talking about, you know, psychics and getting readings done. And she was telling me how like she wants to go downtown in New York where like the bigger psychics are and get more readings. And I was like, girl, we should just go to New Orleans and get a reading. And she's like, oh my God, yes. And it's so interesting because segueing into what we're going to talk about today, the girls are fighting. There is currently discourse going on the internet between Black Americans and South Africans because of the Zulu parade in New Orleans during Mardi Gras. And people have been asking me my thoughts and my take on the whole situation. And truly, I have been clicking not interested on all of the videos that I have seen about this whole discourse. I avoid diaspora wars more than J-Lo avoids using her real vocals in her songs. Because I hate diaspora wars. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Because at the end of the day, no one is really winning. No one involved in the back and forth is truly winning. I'm seeing people like, oh my God, the South Africans are eating the Black Americans up. Oh my God, the Black Americans are eating the South Africans up. Truly, all I see whenever it is a Black diaspora against another Black diaspora is white supremacy tactics versus white supremacy tactics. So who's actually winning? White supremacy, bitch. And I fucking hate that shit. I hate it. All of this, the fighting amongst Black people, a scheme set up by white supremacy to keep us fighting each other rather than fighting the white supremacy itself. I want to start off by saying, again, I have been avoiding all this like the plague, so I have very little understanding or information around the entire discourse. But from my understanding, the Zulu parade is a parade that happens in New Orleans during Mardi Gras. And Zulu people who are from South Africa came out and said like, hey, we find this parade offensive because of the use of blackface. We feel like our culture is being used as a costume. Like they were explaining why they feel like this is offensive to them. I feel like once they came out and said, hey, we find this offensive, the only response should have been, okay, basically. You know what I mean? Like, you find this offensive. We are sorry that this is offensive to you. Like, maybe can you teach us more about your culture? Is there a way that we can do this parade in a way that it won't be offensive to you? Like, I feel like that should have been the response. However, from my understanding, the overwhelming response was, well, you know, like, that's just something that they do in New Orleans. Us as other Black Americans who aren't from New Orleans, like, we don't really understand New Orleans people and, like, what they do. And and they weren't meaning to be offensive. Like, that's just something that they do in New Orleans. I feel like that was a terrible response. Truly. Number one, the use of blackface in 2025 is fucking crazy. Like, and as black people, regardless of where you're from, I think that that is a pretty general understanding that the use of blackface, because of its history and how it's been used to mock black people, that's crazy. I don't understand why the blackface was used or was needed. Number two, again, as black people, no matter where you're from, you understand the gravity and the disrespectfulness of somebody taking your culture and essentially making fun of it, like using someone's culture as a costume, or the appropriation of like braids. Like, we all understand how that feels for your culture to be appropriated. So, like, at the end of the day, when someone tells you, hey, this thing is offensive to me, you don't get to try to rationalize with them as to why it's not offensive. The only response should be, you're offended. Can you explain to me why? And is there a way that I can do this in a way that would not be offensive to you? Because do I think that the people of New Orleans meant to be offensive to Zulu people in South Africa? No. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You were offensive. So how can we do this thing? How can we reshape this thing, if at all possible, to a way that it won't be offensive? But I think that the overall response was, you know, like, we don't really understand. It wasn't meant to be offensive. Like, why are you guys making such a big deal of it? And it's like, that's their culture. Why wouldn't they make a big deal out of it? You know what I mean? So in response to that, or I don't know if it was truly in response to that, but somehow we got to a point where now South Africans are saying really, really disrespectful and racist things in defense of their culture and in defense of South Africa. One of the biggest ones that I've seen was from a woman who was dressed as a slave. She had cotton in her hand, and she's crip walking to Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. I've also seen South African people asking for ways that they can donate to the American police force. I'm seeing South African people say the only evidence that there's schools in America are the school shootings. It's gotten to the point where South Africans are now claiming Elon Musk. I made a video in December, and I was jokingly like, when are y'all going to start telling Elon Musk to go back to Africa? Referencing how white people are always like, you know, go back to Africa to black Americans, because Elon Musk is from South Africa, which a lot of them don't even realize because he's white. They just think that he's American, but he is from South Africa. And there were so many South Africans in the comments like, we don't claim him. He's not from South Africa. Da 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 da. Now, a couple months later, they're like, your country is run by a South African. Like, we've gotten to the point where y'all are now claiming Elon Musk. Like, I fear we may have lost the plot. And on the other side, I'm saying black Americans talk about how all there is in Africa are dirt roads and they don't have clean water and how they have this outbreak of HIV. Like, the craziest fucking shit. And I am just like, I don't know how we got here, but at the end of the day, white supremacy is winning. And that's really all I care about, is the fact that we are fighting each other, which is a scheme set up by white supremacy. All of these diaspora wars, whether it's light skins versus dark skins, whether it's black Americans versus South Africans, whether it's black Americans versus the black British, like, all of them are schemes set up by white supremacy. Because while we're busy fighting amongst ourselves and fighting each other, white supremacy continues to thrive. These are all stereotypes. Every single jab that I have seen thrown, whether it be from a black American or from a South African, all of these jabs are rooted in white supremacy. Every single one. Every single one. And it makes me so upset because, like, why can't we just have a conversation? Why can't we just be like, hey, you know, this thing is offensive. This is why it's offensive. Like I said before, the response should have been, can you tell us why this is offensive? Is there a way that we can do this in a way that won't be offensive? Because, again, I do think that they were just trying to celebrate culture with the Zulu parade. I don't think that it was meant to be offensive, but at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was meant to be offensive. They found it offensive. So how can we do it in a way that's not offensive? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe we had never heard of the Zulu parade. Before this whole thing, did not know about the Zulu parade. But that doesn't make it any less offensive. And that doesn't serve as an excuse as to why we should be, like, downplaying the fact that they said that this is offensive. And at the very same time, because as we know, two things can, and in situations like this, often are true at once, on the other side, doing things to intentionally be offensive to Black Americans is also dead fucking wrong. And not only is it wrong, but like the ways in which South Africans are responding to it are just not even really historically accurate. Again, I think one of the biggest responses that I've seen and why Black Americans got upset, there was a woman who was dressed as a slave with cotton in her hand, and she's crip walking to Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. And it's like, in Louisiana, they mostly focused on sugarcane, not cotton. And also, the crip walk is from California, not New Orleans. So it's like you're throwing jabs or attempting to throw jabs, but it's at everyone except for the people of New Orleans. Like, if you were upset about the parade in New Orleans and you want to be disrespectful to someone, not justifying it. I don't agree with diaspora wars, and again, the only people who win are white people and white supremacy. But if you're gonna make jokes like this, like, at least try to aim for the right people. You know what I mean? And it's like, I also saw people talking about like how they're gonna donate to the police fund, and they're like, oh, I need to get my I Can't Breathe t-shirt, which I Can't Breathe was in reference to the killing of Eric Gardner, who's from Staten Island. So it's just like we've lost the plot, and the jabs aren't even fucking accurate. Everyone else is catching fucking strays, and you're mad at the people of New Orleans. And again, I'm not saying that I agree with any of it, but I'm saying, like, if you're gonna do it, at least maybe try to be accurate and hit the right people. I don't fucking know. I don't think we should be doing it at all. Because again, all of this is rooted in white supremacy. It's white supremacy tactics versus white supremacy tactics. So the only people who are winning are white people and white supremacy. We will never be free. Oh my God. Like, this is why I've been avoiding this shit like the plague. Because no one is winning. At least, like, people are like, oh my God, the Black Americans are winning, the South Africans are winning. Truly, neither one is winning. We look fucking foolish. Everyone involved looks fucking foolish. So my only take through this whole thing, we have to stop this madness. It is crazy. I don't understand why it even got to this point. And again, I have very limited knowledge about all of this because I've been avoiding this shit. So I don't know if it was the response from Black Americans that started it. I don't know if it was South Africans. And I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck because at the end of the day, white supremacy is winning. And that's what I give a fuck about. I just wish Black people, and when I say Black people, I'm referencing everyone. Black Americans, South Africans, Black British, like, I wish all Black people, I just wish we had more community. I wish we had more respect for one another. And I wish that we could truly come together, because I feel like if we really came together, like, not everyone, because there's always going to be some who are going to cling to buffoonery. And Harriet Tubman left people all behind for a reason. We need to keep that same energy. But I wish, as a majority, we could all come together, because if we genuinely all came together, we're so much stronger together than we are separate. We really are. And every time we participate in a Black diaspora war, every time we start fighting against one another, whether we're ready to admit it or accept it, we are helping to uphold white supremacy. And that's why I hate them so much, because at the end of the day, none of us are winning. We are still all being oppressed, and we're enabling that oppression in one form or another every single time we participate in a Black diaspora war. Every single time we participate in fighting one another, we are helping keep the shackles firmly in place. As we wrap up today's episode, I am begging y'all, please stop the diaspora wars. There is no real winner other than white people and white supremacy. To any Black South Africans who might be watching this, my knowledge of the Zulu parade is extremely limited, but I am open to listening and learning as to why it is offensive. I've done a little bit of research, but if anybody wants to DM me, email me, I'm always looking to be more educated, so please reach out. I'm open, and I want to learn. And I also want to try to teach other Black Americans why it is offensive, and if at all, if we can do the parade still and it not be offensive. I'm open to those suggestions as well. At the same time, I hope that y'all will understand how the use of Black American history and the way that Black Americans are treated in America today as a way to clap back or make jabs at us is also very offensive, and it's also very wrong. And moral of the story, I just want us to not fight one another. I want us to come together as a community because, again, I do feel that we are much stronger together than we are separate. So that is my take on the whole situation. I hate it all. I hate all the fighting, and I just would love for it to stop. So again, I'm open to being educated, and I hope that you guys will understand that the use of our history and our current lives is also very offensive. At the end of the day, white supremacy is winning, and I hate to see it. I just want my people to be free, bruh. Like, I hate this shit so much. So thank you all for tuning into today's episode. I hope that it was helpful. I hope that it will make you stop and think about the actual repercussions of your actions, because, again, and I'm just going to keep saying it, none of us are winning. It's white supremacy that's winning, and I really hate that for us. So please just be mindful about what you're doing and saying, and who the real winner and who the real enemy is at the end of the day, because the enemy is always white supremacy, and we should always be trying to actively fight against white supremacy. So I hope that we will do that more in the future. I hope that everyone is having a good day except for that orange drink lady, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Peace and love. Talk to you later. The Napkin in Between, hosted by Dejanay Jones, produced by Dejanay Jones, post-production by Dejanay Jones, music by Sam Champagne, and graphics by Isma Vidal. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next episode.